And welcome back to another episode of the Tom Marshall Media Podcast. Today we are going to look at a film that came out earlier this year, back in February, a film called Iron Claw, a wrestling film about the Von Erich family back in the 80s. Let's get into it. Okay, so it is directed by Sean Durkin. It stars Zac Efron, who you may know from The Greatest Showman, High School Musical, and a whole load of other films. Jeremy Allen White, who you may know from The Bear, which is a really good TV show on Disney Plus right now. Also, Maura Tierney, Holt McCallany, who you may know from Mindhunters, and Lily James. She was in a film called Yesterday, the Beatles thing, and also she played Pamela Anderson in Pam and Tommy, that TV show that came out a couple of years ago. So very good cast. Good, not heard of the director before, but he did a very good job on this one. So yeah, maybe we'll see more of him later on. Budget for this film is around $15 million. It is produced by our good friends who I have no affiliation with whatsoever, but I just like what they're doing at the minute, A24. So yeah, $15 million, very sort of low budget film. The box office to date, basically they are at the moment about $45 million right now, so could increase as time goes on, as it comes out on digital and all that sort of stuff. So it's done pretty well. So the film is about a true story about this well-renowned wrestling family called the Von Erichs. All brothers wrestling for the same wrestling federation. Back in the early 80s, wrestling was very much a regional sort of state-to-state sort of territory-based system, and the Von Erichs basically ran this particular territory. The Von Erichs were actually quite successful. They won several titles, and this is where things start to really go wrong. They have this thing called the Von Erich curse, basically takes hold of the families, and it's all about how the brothers struggle to keep the family going and keep the family business afloat during these troubling times, and the big changes that are happening throughout the WWF, and how they were becoming nationalized, and how the regional territories were going to all be one encompassing national league type thing. And there is basically them trying to cope with all these changes. A film with a lot of tragedy, a lot of love, also between the brothers and the family values that they uphold as well, and very sort of traditional American type family. I really enjoyed this film. I thought this film was very, very good. I didn't feel like I needed to be a fan of wrestling. Like, my entry into the world of wrestling is through Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Obviously, I know who Hulk Hogan is, and I know who The Undertaker is, and a few other people as well. John Cena, for example, because a lot of those wrestlers have transferred into a film role and film sort of career that they've built up over the years. And that was my sort of way into this sort of wrestling world. Obviously, I saw, like everybody, the film The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke, and that was really, really good as well. So interesting insight into that sort of world. I think also I saw a Louis Theroux type Louis Theroux documentary about it. I think part of his Weird Weekends, he gave you a little insight into it. But that's as far as my knowledge goes in terms of like wrestling. with this film, like I said, you don't need any knowledge at all, really. That's the beauty of what they did here. They made you care more about the family dynamics amongst the brothers, the father, the wife as well, and the family curse and what surrounds all of that as well. So they did a really good job. And, you know, it just so happens like the story is around the whole wrestling type of world. So all in all, I felt this film was very good. Like I said, you never really sort of had to be sort of well versed in the world of wrestling. I must admit, I think there was probably a bit too much in the way of spandex, uh, tighty whities. So, I mean, it comes with the world, I suppose. But that's just me. Also, particularly felt Zac Efron really did look the part of the wrestler. He really prepared and kept his body in prime condition for this role. There's a scene where he's bouncing between the ropes, and you could just see he really worked hard on having that look of the wrestler sort of really sort of dialed in. So sort of made me question my own life choices as well. Sitting there watching that film, I was like, I should be doing more with my life, really. But you know, that's the world of wrestling. They're a very dedicated bunch. So yeah, all in all, I'd say I give this film a solid 7 or 8 out of 10. Very very good film. Really good effort by the director Sean Durkin, and yeah, hopefully see more of what he's going to be doing. So yeah, A24 knocked it out of the park once again, and yes, very very good effort. Well done by all who brought this wrestling world to life, and the music choices as well in this film were, you know, classic 80s rock music. So you really sort of get yourself immersed in that 80s nostalgic atmosphere that they bring to life in this film. So very good performances as well by Lily James and Holt McCallney, and the wife as well, Maura Tierney. So yeah, everyone in this film was chosen really well. So yeah, if you like this film, let me know what you think about it in the comments. If you felt the same way as I did, or if you felt like you had a different take on it, it would be interesting to know how you thought about the film. As always, please like and subscribe to my channel. Okay, so this is going to be a new segment, and I'm going to be adding to the videos. I'm going to be discussing all things news related when it comes to films, TV, and gaming. And one of those things we're going to talk about today is what's been going on in the world of film. And there's been a few interesting stories that I have compiled together from various different sources, from Empire Magazine, from Total Film. Hollywood Reporter, Variety, which, you know, a few things, big sort of trade magazines out in the US and the United Kingdom, which people generally may not have access to. So I like to keep up to date on what's going on. And yeah, I found these particular stories pretty interesting. Yeah, so let's get into it. Let's have a little see what's going on. So the first news story I found particularly interesting was that Austin Butler is going to be taking on the role of Patrick Bateman from the film American Psycho that was made in the early 90s, which you may remember Christian Bale was starring in, and sort of launched his career as well. Was one of the films that sort of really let everyone know who Christian Bale was, in my opinion. And so, yeah, very, very good film. I'll be interested to see what they do with this remake, being directed by Luca Guadagnino. So yeah, so far so good. I mean, as we all know with casting, it's always changing, always chopping and changing. So it's just the first preliminary round of casting. So be interesting to see where they take it from here. So who they'll add, who they'll replace. You know, it changes all the time. So yeah. So the next story is quite a funny one, I think. Ridley Scott was basically doing press for Gladiator 2 and let slip, I think, that Paul Mescal was going to be cast as one of the Beatles in the latest Beatles film that they're currently in production of, or pre-production, I should say, and currently casting. They've just cast Barry Keoghan to play Ringo Starr, I believe, and so yeah, so it'd be interesting who else they cast and what they're going to do with it. So, will it be a straight biopic? Will they do like a musical, or what? Who knows? Who knows? Um, on trailer news, the recent trailer for 28 Years Later has come out and was very impressed with what they've done there. Aaron Taylor Johnson is starring in this one. He's had a pretty busy year with Craven the Hunter and this film as well. It kind of made me want to watch 28 Days Later. So yeah, I might revisit that again, the Danny Boyle film, the original, which I found particularly good. So yeah. In Marvel news, Chris Evans is going to be back for the Avengers Doomsday film, which the Russo brothers are directing. I think there's Doomsday and there's another one, Secret Wars. Was it Oh, I don't know. I can't remember. But Chris Evans is coming back for this Doomsday film. Uh, into which capacity, I'm not 100% sure. It's probably Captain America. I think we can all assume it's going to be that character, because a couple of days later, Benedict Cumberbatch was cast as Doctor Strange. So a few people returning to their title characters again. So that should be good. The final story is that Jeremy Allen White, who starred in the very film I just reviewed just now, is voicing the character of Boba Fett's son in the new Mandalorian and Grogu film for Disney Plus. So again, be interesting to see where they go with that. So yeah, that's your news, and I shall see you in the next video. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to the channel. It makes a big difference. Really does help. So yeah, please like and subscribe and comment in the. So if you'd like to comment on a few of the stories that I talked about, that would be cool. Or if you have any other news stories that have come out that I've possibly missed, that'd be really good as well. Just get that conversation going. So thank you very much for watching, and as always, I shall see you in the next video.